My name is Max. I am 36, married to Lena, and I own a small but loud auto repair shop 2 blocks off the highway. Grease under my nails most days. Phone full of parts, invoices, and customer texts. In my family, I am the reliable one, the guy who shows up with jumper cables and pays the tab when everyone suddenly forgets their wallets. I am the older brother. Nick is the younger. He is the charmer, the kind of guy who can borrow a car and return it with less gas and more stories. Growing up, he got away with everything because he made everyone laugh. He still does. New Year's Eve, we were at my parents' place. Big pot of borscht on the stove. Cheap sparklers stuck in a cake. Television counting down in the corner. My kids, Ben, 9, and Talia, 7, were in paper crowns chasing the dog. Lena was in the kitchen with Mom, plating herring and rolling her eyes in a way only I can read. Stay calm. Nick clinked a spoon against his glass. Hey everybody, speech! He stood, gave a dramatic bow, and swept an arm toward my kids. These are my brother's kids. No medals, no talent, just like their mom. The room did that awful thing where some people freeze and others laugh because they do not know what else to do. Someone actually snorted. My father said Nick like a warning, but it was soft, almost amused. Lena went still. Ben looked at the floor. Talia's crown slid down over one eye. Nick grinned wider, puffed his chest, and pointed at his son, Luca, who was practicing a tick-tock dance beside the couch. Now that is what success looks like, he said. Scholarships incoming. You hear that, Max? I felt the heat rise behind my ears. My hand found Lena's without thinking. She squeezed once. I am here. I stood, lifted my glass, and my voice came out calm, flat. Cheers, I said. This is the last time any of you will see us. Silence. The laughter died so fast it left a hole in the room. Mom blinked like I had spoken a foreign language. Nick smirked as if I were bluffing. I set the glass down, took my kids' hands, and we left. Coats over pajamas, street cold in my lungs. I buckled them into the car while the fireworks started popping somewhere over the river. On the drive home, Ben asked, "Did we do something wrong?" "No," I said. "We are done being someone's joke." I tucked them into bed. Lena sat at the kitchen table, still in her nice dress, mating something invisible in the air with her fingers. "What now?" she asked. "Now," I said. "We clean house." I did not check my phone. I did not want to see the explosion I knew was waiting in the family chat. I just stood in the dark kitchen smelling motor oil on my jacket, listening for fireworks or sirens or anything that was not my own pulse. The dog flopped against my foot. Half midnight, the neighborhood went quiet. I finally flipped my phone over, and there it was. Nick's name lighting the screen, but I did not open it. Not yet. Not tonight. Tonight, I wanted the sound of our apartment breathing, and the small, warm fact that I had meant what I said. Tomorrow, I would read it. Tomorrow, I would decide what to do with it. Tonight, I let the anger sit exactly where it belonged, front and center, sharp enough to finally see what I had been pretending not to see for years. I washed the glasses one by one until the water ran cold. I did not become the reliable one on purpose. It just happened. After high school, I skipped college and went straight into work, apprenticed under a cranky mechanic who taught me torque specs and how to say no without apologizing. I saved, bought out a failing 2-bay garage, painted it bright, and put my name on the window. Max Auto. We fix what other people ignore. I married Lena at 27. We had Ben and Talia. We built a life made of early alarms, late dinners, and Saturdays at the park when I could manage it. I am not some saint. I just did the math. Work now, breathe later. Meanwhile, Nick collected almost careers the way my shop collects old lug nuts. Personal trainer, real estate assistant, crypto consultant, marketing director for a startup that existed mainly on hoodies. He always landed just soft enough to try the next thing. My parents helped. He is the baby, Mom would say, half joking, fully true. Dad would shrug. He will figure it out. Max, maybe you can, help. Help turned into paying Nick's traffic tickets so it would not go to collections. Then a temporary phone added to my plan so he could job hunt. Then just a small loan for a deposit on an apartment he left 6 months later. Deposit gone. When Luca was born, it leveled up. It takes a village, Mom said, handing me a list. Diapers, formula, a car seat. I bought all 3. Once after Luca's preschool talent day, Nick pulled me aside in the hallway and said, "He is special, Max. We are going to need real schools. You get it?" He said it like I had been waiting to be assigned this mission. Here's the part I hate admitting. I said yes to a lot of it. Some yes were loud, most were quiet. I sent money for a few months. I co-signed a used Honda so he could stop borrowing your work truck, which he still borrowed. I covered Luca's summer camp the year Nick's startup closed shop. Each time I told myself it was the last. Then Mom would call with that voice. He is your brother. And I would blink and the transfer would be pending. Lena did not nag, she just watched the numbers. We need a new alignment rack, she would say, looking at the spreadsheet. But if you want to cover his emergency again, I will push the order. I would tell her, next month. I tell myself. The family chat was its own ecosystem. Memes from Dad, long voice notes from Mom. Photos of Luca posed with medals from weekend tournaments where everyone got a medal. My kids' wins were background noise. When Ben got a perfect score on his math test, I posted a picture. Mom reacted with a thumbs up when Talia learned to read early. Nick sent, cute. When Luca kicked a ball into a net at a birthday party, there were 38 messages, 2 video edits, and Mom writing, our prodigy, with 3 crowns. I told myself I did not care. I am an adult, I have a shop. But then you catch your son watching those threads go by and you care. 2 weeks before New Year's, Nick sent me a long text. Good news. Luca got into Eastfield Prep's middle school program. Tuition is a stretch, but we are all about investing in the future, right? Can we sit down and talk numbers? You always said you would be there for him. I reread, you always said, and felt that old tug behind my ribs. Years ago, at a christening half asleep and full of champagne, I told Mom, of course, I will help with Luca. I had meant buying onesies. They heard tuition. I did not answer right away. At the shop, I replaced a timing belt with my phone face down and my jaw tight. Lena appeared in the bay doorway, hair in a bun, clipboard in hand. Your brother called here, she said. He said, you are ghosting him. I am busy, Max. He asked if he should have. The school send the invoice straight to the business account. I laughed. It came out like metal on metal. The business account is for keeping the lights on. Then tell him, she said gently, before New Year's, before there is an audience. I tried. Twice I dialed, twice I hung up. I knew exactly how it would go. He would joke, I would hedge. Mom would hop on speaker and make it a referendum on my soul. So, I saved it. I would say it after the holiday dinner when people are sleepy and less cruel. And then the holiday dinner happened, and Nick opened his mouth and tossed my kids into the fire, and the audience laughed, and I told them it was the last time. The next morning, I finally opened his message from after midnight. Timestamp 12:41 a.m. You are still covering my son's college, right? College, not middle school, not maybe someday. College. Like the bill had already been slid across the table to me, and I was deciding which pen to use. There was more. A text from Mom. You embarrassed us. You know your brother jokes. You should apologize to the family chat. Also, we need to talk about Luca's education plan. It is not fair to start and then pull support. Start what? I thought. Pull what? In their heads, I had signed a decades-long contract. In their heads, my kids were a punchline and Luca was a project funded by me. I put the phone down and grabbed a fresh roll of shop towels. I needed friction. I needed to scrub something. That afternoon, Dad called. Your mother is upset, he said. Just smooth it over, okay? Nick did not mean it. Dad, he meant it enough to say it in front of my kids. A pause. Well, you know how he is. I do, I said, and felt something click into place. And I am done pretending. Pretending what? That he is my responsibility. Dad exhaled like I had confessed to a crime. Max, family. I looked at my hands, oil black in the creases. Exactly. If I had handled it the old way, I would have called Nick and argued in circles until he wore me down. If I had handled it the angry way, I would have shown up at my parents' door and yelled. Instead, I did something I learned under that cranky mechanic. Write it up like a work order. Diagnose, document, decide. I opened a new note and titled it Family Billing. Because if they were going to keep treating me like a bank, I would start acting like one. I listed everything I could remember year by year. Tickets, deposits, temporary phone lines, summer camps, the Honda cosign that became a refinance when he missed payments. I dug through emails and screenshots. Lena pulled statements. We stayed up until 1 a.m. side by side at the kitchen table adding line items. Every number we found made my jaw unclench a little. Not because of the amount, though the amount made me want to lie down, but because it was not a feeling anymore. It was data. At the bottom I wrote, further credit suspended. The next day I posted in the family chat, we are coming over Sunday at 5 o'clock. All of us, please be there. Mom liked the message with a heart. Nick replied, make it quick, champ. Luca has training, Sunday at 5. We walked in. I did not bring a casserole. I brought a printed packet. Lena carried a folder. My kids stayed home with our neighbor. Mom started in immediately. Max, about New Year's. I held up a hand. I will start. Nick sprawled on the couch, phone in hand. Make it short. The game is on. I set the packet on the coffee table. This is the last 10 years of me helping, I said. Total at the end. Notes attached. Tonight, I am saying no going forward. Effective today. Mom frowned at the header. Dad turned the pages like he might find a joke hidden in there. Nick did not touch it. He smirked at me. You made a brochure. That is adorable. Read page 3, I said. That is the Honda you stopped paying. I have the refinance papers and the ding it put on my credit. Page 5 is Luca's 2022 camp. Page 6 is the deposit you lost. Page 7 is the temporary phone line I am still paying. Page 9 is the laptop you borrowed for your consulting and never returned. Dad cleared his throat. Max, Dad, you told me to smooth things over. This is me smoothing. I am telling the truth out loud. That is all. Mom crossed her arms. You do not bring spreadsheets to family. You brought invoices to me for years, I said. You just called them favors. Nick flipped a page with one finger and laughed. So what? You want me to pay you back? I will send you a check for what? $20 a month for the rest of my life? Relax, banker. I felt the old anger rise and let it pass like a truck you see coming. No, I said. I do not want anything. I am closing the account. He blinked. What is that even? It means no more money, no more cosigns, no more just this once, no more paying for your kids anything. And if you insult my wife or my kids again, you will not see us. That is abuse, Mom snapped. You cannot punish a child for his father's mistakes. Then stop using your child as your excuse, Lena said quietly. It was the first time she had spoken. Everyone turned. She kept her voice steady. Max is not punishing Luca. He is protecting our kids from you. Nick pointed at her. Watch your tone. I laughed once. No. Watch yours. He stood. You think you are better than me because you change oil and play Dad of the Year? You think your little shop makes you a big man? I let him talk. He has always loved the sound of his own voice. When he wound down, I slid my phone across the coffee table. Since you think I am trying to be a banker, I said, here is the audit. I opened the family chat on the screen, scrolled to years of emergencies, and then to last week. His text about sending invoices to my business account. I tapped the message, hit info, and mirrored it onto Dad's television with one click. 20 feet wide. Nick's words glowed across the screen. Wow, look at that. Send the invoice to the business account. That must be a different kind of joke. Dad said my name like a warning. I met his eyes. I am done taking the bait and taking the bill. Nick's face flushed. You think I am scared of a slideshow? You still owe us. Luca is family. Lena leaned forward. Our kids are family too. Ben heard you call him talentless. He cried in the car. Talia wanted to know if, just like their mom, means she should be ashamed of me. That is what your joke did. A tiny sound came out of Mom. For a second, I thought it might be empathy. Then she said, Lena, you know Nick does not mean it. He gets carried away. And the empathy vanished. I took a breath. One more thing, I said, sliding a second paper across. This is an email I drafted to Eastfield Prep. It says, please remove my name and any implied sponsorship from Luca's middle school file. I will not be responsible for payments now or in the future. It is going out tonight. Nick lunged forward and snatched the page. You would not. I would. You promised. I promised to be a brother, I said, not a bank. He stared at me like I just slapped him. Then he did what he always does when cornered, went for humiliation. You know why you are really mad? He said to the room. Because Luca is better than your kids. Because you married plain and you made plain kids and you cannot stand that mine shines. The word plain hit Lena's face like a slap. I saw it. That was it. The last bolt tightened. Okay, I said. We are done. I picked up my phone, tapped the family chat, and wrote slow so I would not misspell from shaking. We will not be in this chat anymore. Do not contact us for money or favors. If you need a mechanic, call the shop during business hours like any other customer. I left the chat. Lena left the chat, then I blocked Nick. Mom started crying the careful way people cry when they think it is a tactic. Dad stood, hands out. Max! Dad, I said, if you want to see your grandkids, you know where we live. But if there is a price or a punchline, stay home. We walked to the door. Nick muttered to my back. You are still covering college, right? I did not turn around. Read the memo, I said, and closed the door behind us. The first week was loud. Missed calls, long voicemails, messages from numbers I did not know. My aunt texted, "Family is not transactional." I typed and deleted a reply a dozen times before writing, "I agree. That is why I'm ending the transactions." Mom left a message every morning. "You are breaking my heart," she would say. "Call me. Let us be reasonable." Reasonable meant I pay and they forget the terms. Reasonable meant we pretend the insult never happened. I did not listen to Nick's voicemails. They came in like spam. 10:04 a.m., 10:12 a.m., 10:20 to 8 a.m. Lena listened to one, grimaced, and deleted it. "We are not saving any of this," she said. "We are not writing a book." At the shop, something shifted without the weekly emergency withdrawals. My numbers breathed. I ordered the alignment rack we had been pushing off for a year. It arrived on a rainy Thursday. The delivery guys wheeled it in while Talia danced around the bay in pink headphones. Ben helped me unbox the laser heads, reading the manual like it was sacred. "New toy," he said. "New tool," I corrected, but I was smiling. We made small changes at home, too. Wednesday nights had been Nick's practice night when we had rearranged dinner so I could drive him or Luca somewhere because their car was in the shop, not mine. Wednesday became pancake night. The kids picked toppings. Lena burned the first batch and laughed for the first time in days. I noticed how quiet my phone was. "No, can you just?" Requests. No quick favors. The absence felt like oxygen. Of course, the family did not stop. They just pivoted. Mom tried Dad. Dad tried guilt. "I never asked my parents for anything," he said on the phone. "But your mother—" "Dad," I said, "you can see the kids this Saturday. Come by, bring bagels." No speeches. He came. He brought bagels. He stood in the doorway like a man sneaking into a movie halfway through. Ben showed him a Lego engine he had built that actually moved. Talia read him a page from her book. He cried a little. He left without mentioning money. Progress. Nick found a new angle, the public one. He posted on Facebook about growing up poor and brothers who forget where they came from. He wrote, "Some people value money over family," under a photo of Luca in a uniform I recognized, because I had paid for the last version. Mutual sent me screenshots with, "You okay?" attached. I replied, "We are good," and then put my phone face down and torqued lug nuts until my palms hurt less. A week later, Eastfield Prep emailed, "We have updated our records. Your name has been removed." The relief I felt shocked me. It was like a knot between. My shoulder blades loosened a notch. I printed the email and slid it into the folder labeled Family, which now meant history, not instructions. 2 weeks later, a customer came in with a beat-up Corolla and a Lucas sticker on the bumper. She laughed. "You know, Nick," she told me. "He told me to tell you hi, said you take care of the whole family." I smiled and said, "We take care of every customer the same." Then I gave her a fair price and did the work and sent her on her way. The real test came month 3, Luca's birthday. In the past, I would have been asked to sponsor the team party. This time, silence. Then the day of, a text from an unknown number. A photo of Luca with a sheet cake and plastic forks. Candles burned down to stubs. The message said, "Wish you were here, Uncle Max." That one got past my armor. Kid did not ask to be born into this. I showed Lena. She nodded, eyes soft. "Send him a gift," she said. "Not to Nick, to Luca. Something he can use. No money, no note, just his name on the box." We sent a set of really good practice cones and a hand pump with needles, and a small card that said, "Happy birthday, Luca. Practice makes progress. Uncle Max," no return address, just a clean line from us to him. I did not check if Nick posted about it. I did not want to turn it into a scoreboard. We started inviting people who were not family into our life more, the shop guys and their kids, our neighbor Ruth, who makes soup when she knows I am working late. One Friday, we moved the cars out of the bays, hung string lights, and watched a movie on a sheet clipped to the lift. The kids lay on old seat cushions and ate popcorn out of oil drain pans lined with foil. Do not judge, they were clean. For the first time in a long time, I did not brace for my phone to buzz with a new crisis. The only buzz was the lights. A month after the confrontation, Mom texted Lena instead of me. She wrote. Lena said yes. They sat in a cafe for an hour. When she came home, Lena hung up her coat and said, "Your mother misses you and will never admit it." What did she say? That she does not understand why you are being so extreme. Lena looked at me. I told her the line was not you leaving the chat. The line was Nick pointing at our kids and calling them nothing. I waited. She said, "Well, he did not mean it." I said he did. Then I said we are open to relationships that do not cost our kids their dignity, and she stirred her tea for a long time. 2 months in, I looked at the shop bank account and felt something like hope. We were ahead, not by much, but ahead. I ordered new uniforms with everyone's name stitched on the chest. I got mine too, Max. It felt silly, then good. Ben started coming in on Saturdays for the morning rush. He learned to check tire pressures and reset tire pressure monitoring system lights. Talia sat at the little desk by the window and made invoices with crayons for imaginary customers named Princess Sparkplug and Sir Muffler. She spelled muffler wrong every time and laughed like it was the best joke. On a quiet Tuesday, I saw a number I recognized, one I had not blocked, my grandmother's cousin, Zoya. She is 90 if she is a day and sees everything. I heard, she said. You made a scene. I made a boundary, I said. Good, she said and hung up. Not everything was warm. There were days I wanted to drive to Nick's place and shake him until the old brother I once had fell out of his pockets. There were nights Lena and I lay awake staring at the ceiling, wondering if we had done right by Luca. But the feeling that used to live in my chest, the tight, sour mix of resentment and guilt, was fading. It was being replaced by something boring and strong. Routine, work, dinner, homework, sleep, repeat. It felt like healing because it was. Then spring, a Saturday tournament at the park near my shop. We took the kids and the dog. Luca's team was there. We stood far enough away to be polite and invisible. At halftime, Luca jogged to the sideline, glanced around and spotted us. He broke into a grin and did a small wave he probably thought no one else would see. I lifted my hand too. That was it. No conversation, no promises, just a quiet hello that did not cost me anything I could not afford. When his team won, the parents crowded around with phones and banners. Nick hoisted Luca up like a trophy for a second. Luca looked like a kid again, not a project. He caught my eye. I tapped my chest twice. Good job. We walked home. Talia skipped. Ben narrated the winning play like a tiny sports commentator. Lena slipped her hand into mine. You okay? She asked. I think so, I said, surprised it was true. I did not win a war. I just ended one I kept funding. People think the hard part is saying no. It is not. The hard part is not saying yes afterward when the guilt shows up wearing your mother's voice. The hard part is sitting in your kitchen at midnight with your phone face down and choosing quiet over drama. The hard part is looking your kid in the eyes and promising that your family will not be a place where they are the punchline. Here is what I know now. A boundary is not revenge. It is a budget for your energy. A family chat is not a courtroom. I do not owe anyone my defense there. My kids are not second place to anyone's pride. I own a shop. I fix things. I used to think my job with family was the same, to take in their rattles and leaks, bolt on something new, send them back out. But some problems do not need a mechanic. They need an exit. On New Year's, I raised a glass and said, "This is the last time any of you will see us." That was anger talking. The truth is softer. It was the last time any of them would see us like that, available, apologizing, paying to be insulted. We are still here. We just stopped showing up to the wrong stories. Last week, Dad came by and watched Talia hammer a bent nail straight. He clapped like it was a magic trick. Ben changed a wiper blade in under a minute and grinned so hard I saw the kid he was and the man he will become in the same face. Lena leaned on the door frame, arms folded, eyes shining. Nobody made a joke. Nobody sent an invoice. We ate pancakes for dinner because it was Wednesday, and that is what we do now. My phone buzzed once, twice, then went still. I let it. I poured syrup. I passed a plate. I answered a question about torque specs with, "We will learn together." And when I tucked the kids in, Ben said, "Are we still not going to Uncle Nick's?" "Not for now," I said. "But we are okay." He nodded, satisfied. "Good," he said. "I like pancake night." "Me too, kid. Me too." I do not know what Luca's college will be, and it is not my job to know. I hope he gets wherever he wants to go. I hope one day he comes by the shop on his own and lets me show him how to change oil without making a mess. I hope he learns what I finally did, that love is not measured in how fast someone wires money or how quietly they swallow an insult. It is measured in the steady, unglamorous work of showing up for the people you chose and the people who chose you back. That is my boundary. That is my moral. I am not a bank. I am a dad with a lift, a wife with a spine, and 2 kids who are not playing. That night, after the door clicked shut behind us and the cold air hit my face like a wake-up slap, I sat in the driver's seat with my hands on the wheel and just breathed. The kids were quiet in the back, crowns crumpled in their laps, and Lena stared straight ahead at the dashboard lights. I thought I would feel triumph, some big, cinematic surge of victory. Instead, I felt hollowed out, like someone had finally pulled the plug on a drain I'd been clogging for years. The anger was still there, hot and loud, but underneath it was something quieter and heavier, grief. Not for Nick, not really. I grieved the version of family I'd been carrying around in my head all this time, the one where I fixed everything, paid for everything, absorbed every joke, and somehow that made me indispensable. The one where being the reliable one meant I was loved. Turns out it just meant I was useful. When Ben asked if we'd done something wrong, his voice small in the dark, something cracked open in my chest. I looked at him in the rearview mirror and saw the exact moment he started doubting himself because of his uncle's careless words. That hurt worse than any insult aimed at me. My boy, who can take apart a lawnmower engine with a butter knife in pure curiosity, wondering if he's no talent. My girl, who reads chapter books to the dog like he's her most attentive audience, thinking maybe she should feel ashamed of her mom. I realized I'd spent years teaching them how engines work, how to be kind, how to stand up straight, but I hadn't taught them that they deserve a family who sees them clearly. Driving home, I kept replaying Nick's smirk, the half-laughs in the room, the way my own father's warning had sounded almost fond. I felt stupid for how long I'd let it go on. Not generous, stupid. I'd confused enabling with love, paying bills with loyalty, and the worst part, I'd done it willingly, because saying no felt lonelier than saying yes. Every transfer, every CO sign, every just this once bought me a seat at the table. A shaky seat, but still a seat. Walking away meant admitting I'd rather stand alone than sit there and watch my kids get diminished. Later, in the kitchen with the cold water running over the glasses, I let myself cry for the first time in years. Not loud, just the kind of tears that slip out when you're too tired to stop them. I cried for the brother I thought Nick was when we were kids, the one who made me laugh until my sides hurt, who once defended me when a bigger kid pushed me off my bike. I cried for the parents I wanted, the ones who would have shut Nick down the second he opened his mouth about my children. I cried because I was 36, and finally learning that love shouldn't feel like a second mortgage on your peace. But here's the strange part. Once the tears stopped, something lighter moved in. Not joy yet, just space. Room to breathe without waiting for the next crisis text. Room to look at Lena and really see her, the woman who'd been carrying half this load in silence, rolling her eyes in the kitchen because speaking up would have made her the difficult one. Room to watch my kids sleep and know I'd finally chosen them over the story that I had to earn my place in my own family. Cutting the funding, sending the receipts, walking out. That wasn't revenge. It was surgery. Painful, necessary, and long overdue. I removed the part of my life that was infected so the rest could heal. And it is healing. Slowly, in pancake nights and quiet Wednesdays. In the way Ben now brags about my dad's shop like it's a superpower. In Talia drawing pictures of our family where everyone, even the dog, has medals made of gold stars. I'm still angry sometimes. I still flinch when the phone buzzes with an unknown number. But mostly I feel steady, proud in a way I've never allowed myself to feel before. Because I finally understood that protecting my kids' dignity isn't extreme, it's the bare minimum. And choosing peace over pretending isn't selfish, it's survival. I'm not a hero. I'm just a dad who got tired of paying to be the punchline, and for the first time in years when I look at my grease-stained hands, I don't see someone who fixes everyone else's messes. I see someone who finally fixed his own.